Hey Vegas, I know I'm looking a little disheveled, but how was that game? Huh? I mean, I don't know, I put it in the title here. I really think this team is completely spoiling us. You think about how well they played all year long. I mean, we're spoiled. How does this team go against the rivals and just light it up like they have? And it's been a great series, right? You can look at any of these games thinking that they'll go another way. Hey, Scotty, I'm waiting for Matt to hop on here whenever he does. Maybe he is already on. Hold on, now I need to see who's on here. When he does, I'll add him to it. But this series, like I said, it could go either way, but it just seems like that what the Knights are doing is what's been happening to them early on in the year, and that is simply just magic. I mean, really, magic and hard work, right? You look at that third line, the Eakin line, getting that game-tying goal, right, to make it 1-1, and then they just feed off of that. Carlson's desperate for a goal. He gets one. Really, that top line hadn't done much of anything in this series, right? And then James Neal, and it's really interesting. I was just speaking with my wife. Again, I told Matt we were doing this, so I'm still waiting for you, Matt. But I was just talking with my wife. We're sitting here in our living room, and quick story about James Neal. The last time he scored, it was for the first time, right? So as his last goal or his previous goal was the first time he scored in like a month and a half. 12 games in all, and I just asked him. It was a very innocuous, very simple question. It was Fan Appreciation Week, and I said, hey, it must have been nice to hear it from the fans. It's been a bit, I said, it's been a bit since you scored, and he hesitated, and he was like, yeah, it's nice, and blah, 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 and I said, thanks, and then I start walking away from him after the interview, and here's Matt. Let me add him. And when I do, I'll finish the story and get his reaction to it. So, but Golden Knights win 3-2. Hey, Matt. Hey, good to see you. We've got our hats on.
Yes, sir.
You've got the wine on. I'm surprised the wine isn't open behind you. I was just finishing up. So I'll start with this, and then I'll throw it to you. But my initial thought here is about James Neal, and I was telling everybody on Facebook the last time I had talked to James and interviewed him, it was after his last goal, right? And that last goal that he scored, he was on a bit of a slump, for lack of a better way to put it. He hadn't scored in about 40 days. First goal in 12 games. He had that injury that he dealt with. And I just asked him, it was Fan Appreciation Week. I was just like, hey, James, great for the fans. I know that I'm sure it was nice to hear that roar. It's been a bit since you scored a goal. That's all I said. I said it's been a bit. And, didn't mean anything by it. And he answered the question, and I said thanks, and I started to walk away. And then all of a sudden I hear this voice behind me, and he goes, Jesus Christ, you're acting like I haven't scored in 30 games. And I look around, I thought it was somebody joking with me. It's James Neal, who's completely irritated. And now James does get a little testy in the locker room, I'll say that. But he was irritated.
He does.
And I mean, I don't know how that relates to tonight, but I mean, it's, he needed that goal just like William Karlsson needed that goal. So that's my thought, is just James Neal waking up and that top line finally getting the goal. Biggest deal is that both of those guys get on the score sheet here. What's your initial thought about this win?
Yeah, that third period was kind of a microcosm of the Knights season. They found it in themselves to just start pushing and dismiss all of the chaos and the rough stuff and everything that had been going on the entire game and get back to what they do best. And I tweeted it out when Miller hit the post. It felt like that might be that what if moment of the game. Like, man, we're gonna lose this game 1-0, and that's gonna be the moment that all Vegas looks back on and goes, God, we could have tied it right there. And it was on that possession that they were relentless, kept the puck in the zone, and found Eakin twice, and the second one hit the back of the net. And Ken tweeted out on Sinbin right after that, and then the next goal came. He tweeted out, this team, it's like sharks in the water. They smell blood, and they just get after you. And after Eakin had that first goal, I mean, that was it. Riley Smith with the incredible play off the faceoff to keep it alive and kick it back out to Karlsson, and then Neal with just a ridiculous move. The way that he spun his body up against the boards and found space, and then the sniper, man. I mean, nowhere to put that puck except for where he put it, and he found the back of the net, and that was it, man. I mean, that was the difference in the game.
Yeah, and this team, I mean, Matt, they've done it all year. And granted, I haven't watched really any hockey except for Golden Knights games, but I caught a little bit of the game before the Golden Knights. It was Columbus against why can't
Washington.
the Capitals, right? And I know the Caps tied it up; they lose in overtime. But I was watching, in the third period, the Capitals did tie it up again. But I don't see what the Knights do replicated in another team. Their resiliency and their fight and the way that they kind of feed. You get one goal and then you can feed off of that and just keep it rolling. And again, I could be completely wrong here, but I just don't see another team replicating this. And I said before you hopped on, we're getting spoiled, man. I mean, what this team is doing is really spoiling us, to set the bar pretty high moving forward right now.
Yeah, I say it after every game. The dream season rolls on. This isn't supposed to happen, and if it does, it's not supposed to happen this quickly. And they refuse to go away. They're going to make a run here. This team is going to make a run. It's not over. They still need to get that fourth win. That's the most elusive one, obviously, but they're most likely going to move on from this round and play either the Sharks or the Ducks. Both teams, I think, they're better than. And then you've got the big one against most likely the Predators or the Jets. I would put my money on the Predators, but it's going to be one of those two teams. There's no reason they can't win that series. Do I think they will? No. I would put my money on the Predators to come out of the West and represent in the Stanley Cup Finals. But there's no reason to believe the Knights can't do it. We saw what they did against them in the regular season. They won the series 2-1, and the one loss they had, they probably should have won that game. They had a backup goaltender in there standing on his head for 60 minutes. I think 1-0 shutout, right? So it's an amazing ride. It's fun. I know the entire city's behind them. We're seeing curlers from the other side of the pond wearing Golden Knights hats, and you're seeing them in bowling on ESPN. You see guys in the stands wearing Golden Knights stuff. It's an unreal ride, man.
Yeah, Tony Cordasco is on. Of course, refuses to come on and do the chat. I don't know. Maybe he's like prone, laying on his couch, and he's like napping. Tony, on the record, still thinks the Kings will win the series in 6 games. By the way.
Yeah, I don't think mathematically that's possible anymore. I'm gonna have to go back and count, but I don't think they can do it now.
And just for the record here, again, the Golden Knights have not lost 4 straight all season long. So it seems like It's boding pretty well. Obviously, again, you have to go back, and I'm sure we can find the numbers, but it's highly unlikely that a team blows a 3-0 deficit. So, again, what we want to see is this team continue to build off of what they have obviously put together these first 3 games of the playoffs, right? Culminating with this performance tonight. And I feel like, looser may not be the right word. I mean, aggressive isn't the right word either. It just looked like a team that was more not afraid of making mistakes. I mean, and they played mistake-free. The worst mistake was that poor clear by Riley Smith there to give up the goal to make it 3-2. Really, probably one of the biggest errors, or the only errors of the series. But saw a team that looked a little bit more comfortable, playing a little bit more aggressive, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think early on they let the Kings get in their head a little bit, and the Kings obviously fed off the crowd there at Staples Center. It was loud, and they were into it, and they got the first period goal. So they played with a lead for the majority of the game. And I think the Knights they wanted to prove that, hey, we're as tough as you guys. We can play this style and still come out on top. And for 2 periods, though, the Knights did play well. I mean, they still outshot the Kings throughout the course of the game. Playing that style of hockey, that more aggressive, that slow-down style, is not what the Knights do well. Not that they can't play it, but that doesn't play to their strengths.
Right.
Playing to their strengths, which is speed and transition and getting out in front and creating chances in front of the net, that's what the Knights do well. And the second they started doing that, I mean, boom, boom, boom. How many times have we seen that this season where they score 3 goals in a matter of minutes and just suck life out of the other team? Scary thing, I believe it was the last time that a team came back from a 3-0 deficit was in the first round in 2014, Kings versus Sharks. Kings were down 3-0 in that series, came back and beat the Sharks, and then went on to win Game 7, and then Game 7 again, and then went on to beat the Rangers in the Cup Finals. So put them away. I know everybody wants to see them come home and win in Game 5 in front of the home crowd. But you don't give a team like this that has 8 guys that played on that Stanley Cup team, you don't give them a chance to come back and have any life whatsoever. Bury them in game 4, get the sweep, come home and get ready for the next series.
Yeah, and I agree with you. That was going to be my next question. I'm glad you brought it up. I thought about it for about 10 seconds, Matt. So I did consider it a little bit. I'm like, it would be nice to get Game 5 at home. So I did. It wasn't like a split second. It was a few seconds. Would love to see these guys win in front of the Vegas crowd. But no, you're absolutely right. Get this thing over with, and let's move on to round 2, and then we can get excited about the second round. Jonathan Quick, right, gives up 3 goals in a period, and the last time the Golden Knights did that, they chased him right on home ice. What do you think? Do you think he bounces back here, or do you think there's some kind of residual? He's won a couple cups, I get it, but he's down 3-0, and he got shelled for 3 goals in that period.
Well, you have to wonder where Jonathan Quick's head is at right now, because he has played some phenomenal hockey. The Knights they've peppered him for what, 12 periods now, 11 periods, however many periods they've played, 11 periods now with the 2 overtime periods. They've absolutely peppered Quick throughout the entire series, and he's been given a total of 2 goals by his offense. So you have to, 3 goals. They got that late one, but you have to imagine he's pretty frustrated right now. How are they going to react? Do they come out in game 4 with that absolute desperation and the willingness to get back in this series, or are they defeated? Because, I mean, let's be honest, even though I felt that the Knights were, they were out skating them to a degree, that was a King-style game for the majority of the game. For 50 of the 60 minutes, that was a King-style game, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. And they still came out on the losing end. So I don't know, man. If you're Quick, you've got to – the only way you're going to win this series is pitching shutouts at this point.
Yeah, and pardon me again. I only pay attention to Knights games, it seems. What's the Sharks series at? Do you know?
Yeah, the Sharks. So the Sharks are up 2-0 going back home to San Jose. If you're a Knights fan, you want to see that. You want to see the Ducks start playing some good hockey here. There would be nothing better than for the Knights to get a sweep, get some rest, and watch the Sharks and the Ducks just beat each other up for at least 3 or 4 more games. I mean, that would be prime situation for them.
And for Vegas, I mean, you want that close road trip, right? Not to say that San Jose is going to stop anybody from traveling. It might stop a few people, but would be nice for the Ducks to win. Again, VGK has dominated except for that final game of their series in the regular season. So that would be nice. So it looks like they've got some work to do. But the fans, I tried to find out, kind of what the mix was. I was hoping like a 60-40 mix, a 70-30 mix. Somebody was telling me just on Facebook, they said it was like 80-20 tops. But still, that 20% in Staples Center was a lot better than any number. I mean, it was probably 95-5 in Game 2. Game 1 was probably 99-1.
I don't even know if it was that high. Yeah. I'd say 99-1.
So, sure, I get, Vegas is turning out. And really, like I said at the beginning, I'm trying to savor this because I feel like we're getting spoiled. And this is just a magical run that really Vegas has to pay attention to. And now we've got to gear up. And Glenn says amazing. And Vince was on. Vince, I want to know where I can get that pizza, by the way, you commented. But, Vegas, really pay attention here and really savor this. I mean, it's to me, it's just everything is icing on the cake, Matt. That regular season that this team had was enough for me. Making the playoffs was enough for me. And, I mean, everything that they're doing now, I'm just awestruck by, really. And this game was another one. That double overtime game was amazing. And then they fight back in the third period, score 3 goals, and win it tonight. It's just I'm really am savoring every minute of it.
Well, don't you feel like even if this ends with, Fleury and Carlson holding the cup over their head, it's still going to be bittersweet because this is just so much fun that you don't want to see this end? I mean, it's hockey every other night, and it's fun and exciting hockey that the city has completely rallied around. When this ride is over, man, I think we're going to fall into a bit of a depression for a couple of months waiting for them to come back. It's surreal, this whole situation.
Sure, and I was going to add, you look at City National Arena yesterday and what that was like, and the players just waving at fans and screaming and yelling. I'm really impressed how Las Vegas has just kind of taken to this team. And I guess it's more than I would have expected, right? And when I go back and think about it, right, you're thinking, okay, a 500 team, Maybe we have we have like the novelty of a new team. Sure, we're going to sell at every game, but you're not thinking people are showing up at City National Arena in droves to watch a practice, right? So I'm just really impressed with how much Vegas, I guess, is realizing just how worthy this team is of their attention right now, if that's the right way to put it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody's bought in, not just to them, going out and performing the way that they do, but bought into hockey, bought into this game, bought into having that rallying point in a sports team that we really haven't seen in Vegas, and unless you were here in the late 80s and early 90s when UNLV was the biggest thing in the nation. We've never had that here. Everybody comes from somewhere else, and they bring their loyalties with them from somewhere else. John, your family's from Chicago, so you've got the Cubs and you have the Blackhawks and the Bears. And I mean, the second you got your team here, you ditched the Blackhawks and went full Vegas, and it's just amazing to see how many people have taken to that. And I mean, it's great. We've never experienced an entire city covered in one jersey before, including Lady Liberty out in front of New York. It's fun.
Yeah, Scotty Hobson says the Kings team this year not as deep as the one that overcame the 0-3 deficit. Absolutely. I don't watch a ton of hockey, but I know that they were certainly a different team in 2014. And I just wonder, if I wasn't at Staples clearly, but if those Kings fans have a little bit of complacency and that the team kind of feeds off of that. And Vegas is charged, right? I mean, you just see it. You look at what Nashville did last year. Clearly, Nashville was charged to see their team go to the Stanley Cup final. Vegas is completely charged, and there's no question that what the fans are doing, they're feeding off each other. So really phenomenal. Any final thoughts before we wrap this up? Are they going to do it in Game 4, do you think? Or do you think it will be a Game 5 here in Las Vegas?
My dad kept telling me before the series started, they're going to sweep. And I was like, there's no way they're going to sweep. This is going to be a great series. They're not going to sweep. It's been a great series, but the Knights keep finding a way, whether it's shutting them out, double overtime, coming back from a deficit in the third. They just keep finding a way. How do you bet against them going into Game 4? Honestly, I find it hard to believe that the Kings are going to have a whole lot left the way that they've lost these games in this series. I mean, that's got to suck the life out of you as a player. A shutout, a double overtime loss, and 10 minutes away from a shutout win, and you lose 3-2. It's going to be tough. I think the Knights sweep. I really do.
Yeah, and I wouldn't bet against them. I mean, I guess I wouldn't be surprised if it's another one-goal game and it's just a game where maybe LA gets that bounce and we bring it back to Vegas for Game 5. Not sure. I don't see the Kings certainly blowing out the Knights by any stretch. Fleury's in his zone. Maybe Quick isn't in his zone coming out for Game 4 on Tuesday. So, yeah, I think when the team comes back to Vegas, it's to rest and get ready for the second round. So I got to give props to you. Nice job on the lighting. Nice job using the tripod. Here I am. Well, I'm a little disheveled, right? I have the playoff beard going. I think yours looks better than mine. And I've got the reflection from the TV in here.
Mine's gray, John.
Yeah.
I got a lot of gray coming in here, man.
That's okay. You're a wise man. Congratulations to you again before we get out of here on the Silver and Black today, right? Is that what we're calling it now? Silver and Black today made its debut on 11:40 a.m. this morning at 8 o'clock, right?
So right now we're the Silver and Black report for the radio side. And it's along with Silver and Black Today on the website side. So silverandblacktoday.com.
So, and that's...
we did the radio show this morning, 8 to 10 in the morning, Sunday mornings, Silver and Black Report, all things Raiders, man. We had Tommy White in studio today and went over some of the stadium stuff. I don't know if you caught it, but he's so hell-bent on beating LA to the finish line and their stadium that he has now pushed that date up from June to May. He said we're going to finish in May.
Wow, interesting. All right, well, all of you who are just discovering us now, give us a like. Again, we're new here. Well, not new, but we're kind of a new format. We're kind of breaking new ground here in Las Vegas where we're providing this content pretty much strictly on Facebook right now. We've got other things, in the works here, but right now, tune in Thursdays, 7 p.m. Here on Facebook. We go live, and we love your comments, and we appreciate all you guys that have been kind of dedicated with us from the start. What did Rich say? I can't even read it because I took off my glasses.
He said, excellent. Don't forget to watch SALV on Thursday. Yes, sir.
And there it is. All right, thanks for hopping on, everybody. Give us a like, and go Knights, go. Let's see if we can get the broom. Yeah, go buy a new broom and like put it out in front of your door or something like that. Take some pictures. We'll see if that works out. Thanks for hopping on here, Matt.
All right, John.
All right, bye.